In a small, forgotten village surrounded by golden fields and dusty roads, lived a boy named Aarav. His home was tiny, with cracked mud walls and a leaking roof that couldn't hold back the rain. But inside that home lived the biggest dream you could ever imagine. Aarav didn't have fancy clothes, expensive books, or even electricity at night. What he had was determination, and a heart that refused to give up. Every morning, Aarav would wake before the sun rose. He'd help his father in the fields, barefoot, tired, and hungry. Then, he'd walk miles through uneven roads just to reach his small government school. His classmates often laughed at his torn bag and broken slippers, but Aarav would just smile. Deep down, he whispered to himself, "One day, I'll make them see who I really am." He loved learning. Mathematics was his favorite, and he dreamed of becoming an engineer, someone who could build machines to make his father's hard life easier. But dreams are never easy, especially for those born in hardship. Aarav didn't have money for coaching, or even proper books. So he started borrowing torn pages from seniors, studying under a dim streetlight every night, while others slept peacefully. Sometimes, he'd fall asleep on his notebook, too tired to keep his eyes open. His mother would quietly cover him with a blanket and whisper, "One day, my sun will shine brighter than the stars." But then, the unthinkable happened. When Aarav appeared for his final exams, he failed miserably. His heart broke. The whole village talked about his failure. Relatives mocked him, friends avoided him, and the same kids who once admired his dedication began to laugh at him. Aarav sat outside his home, staring at the fading sunset, feeling like his dreams had disappeared with the light. But deep inside, a small voice whispered, "This is not the end. Your story is just beginning." And that whisper was about to change everything.
Failure, it arrived like a storm.
For days, he didn't step out of his house. His exam sheet felt heavier than bricks. Every red mark on it was like a wound on his heart. He had given everything, his nights, his sleep, his energy, and yet it wasn't enough. The villagers whispered, "That boy thought he could become an engineer?
Poor dreamer."
Even his relatives said he should just help his father in the fields. Books are not for him. Each word pierced Aarav's soul.
The laughter, the pity, the judgment, it all echoed in his mind.
He started to doubt himself. Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm not meant for this.
One evening, Aarav sat alone near the field, watching the sunset melt into the horizon.
His father came and sat beside him. After a long silence, his father said softly, "Son, do you know why farmers never give up even when the crops fail?" Aarav looked at him, confused. His father smiled and said, "Because we know that the next season will bring new hope. We plant again, even if the last crop died. That's how life works, my boy.
You lost once, so what?
Try again."
Those simple words struck something deep inside Aarav.
That night, he couldn't sleep. He stepped outside, looked up at the night sky, and stared at the stars. They shine so bright because they burn, he thought. Maybe I need to burn too, to shine. From that moment, Aarav made a promise to himself. He picked up his torn books, wiped his tears, and began again. But this time, he studied not just to pass, but to prove that failure was only a teacher, not an end. Days turned into months. While others wasted time, Aarav woke up before sunrise. He studied relentlessly, worked in the fields to help his family, and then studied again under that same flickering streetlight. People mocked him again, saying, "You failed once. Why try again?" But Aarav only smiled and said, "Because I haven't failed until I stop trying." And when exam day came once more, Aarav walked into the hall, not as the boy who failed. The results day arrived like a storm, but this time, Aarav was ready. His hands trembled as he opened the list pinned to the school wall. For a moment, his eyes couldn't believe what they saw. His name, right at the top. Aarav had topped his entire district. Tears rolled down his face. The same eyes that once looked at him with pity were now filled with awe. His teachers called him a miracle. His father hugged him tight, whispering, "You didn't just pass, son. You taught everyone what true courage looks like." But for Aarav, this victory wasn't the destination. It was just the beginning. With his brilliant marks, He earned a scholarship to one of the best engineering colleges in the city. Leaving his village was hard. The city was loud, fast, and unfamiliar. Everyone around him spoke fluent English, wore branded clothes, and carried confidence like a crown. Aarav, in his simple shirt and rural accent, felt like a stranger in a different world. At first, he struggled. He couldn't understand lectures, his classmates mocked his pronunciation, and loneliness became his closest friend. There were nights he sat on the hostel rooftop, staring at the stars, whispering, "Can I really do this?" But then he remembered his father's words, "When crops fail, we plant again." And once again, Aarav planted hope. He studied harder than anyone else, watching online videos late at night, asking professors questions without shame, and spending hours in the lab. Slowly, he began to rise. His grades improved, his confidence grew, and soon, he started designing a small machine to help farmers conserve water, a dream born from his village's pain. Years later, that very invention won him a national award. Cameras flashed, people cheered, and the same boy who once studied under a streetlight now stood under dazzling stage lights, holding a golden trophy. When Aarav returned to his village, children ran beside his car shouting his name. His parents stood by the door, tears shining in they.